sure I make this good. Hi, is it going?
Mm-hmm.
Hi. Good morning. My name is Steve. I am part of Group Ada along with Janae, Alex, and Matt, and I will be discussing on how to solving inequalities. The first thing I will do is like give a warm-up exercise through Via Connect, which should take about like 5 to 10 minutes to complete. Then afterwards, I will then go into the lesson by first stating what the objectives of the lesson are. The objectives are to know how to solve inequalities with one variable, use the properties of inequality to solve inequalities, and to apply inequalities to real life situations. Then I will emphasize on the essential questions. The essential questions are how can we apply inequalities to how can we use inequalities to represent a given situation? How are solving inequalities and inequalities similar, and how are they different? I'll also then provide examples for each one of those under each one of those essential questions. Like first off, like my first problem would be like just solve the following, solve inequality in which you do not have to change the inequality sign. The second one would be like how do you give inequality in which you do have to change the inequality sign, and probably just give like just one word problem. Then afterwards, I will probably like get the students to watch a little motivational video, 5-minute motivational video, and then after that, I will give them I will probably give them a hands-on activity, which is involve algebra tiles, and then finally, I will give them. I will have a little brief review of what we just learned, and then at the end, I will give them a little short assess, or what you call a ticket out the door. One of the things I was just sorry, how to solve equations.
So I already heard you give us your objectives for the lesson. Those objectives are pretty good and straightforward. That'd be good. Definitely write those on the board. Also, what do you think your students are already going to know about this topic or skill?
Well, I'm sure the students will already know how to solving inequalities is like similar to solving equations. So I'm pretty sure the students already know how to solve equations with one variable, but they will also learn how to solve inequalities with one variable.
How do you want to teach this topic? Like, what is your main things you're going to do? Examples? Like what, you're going to do examples, then guided practice? Or what did you say you're going to do?
Well, first I'm going to do the warm-up, then I'm going to do my warm-up, then I'm going to present my lesson using Microsoft PowerPoint. Then
okay, is that PowerPoint going to have examples in it?
Yeah.
Okay, since it is PowerPoint, are you going to set it up to where you like hit enter and get the equation, then hit enter and get the next part that comes up under it? You know the steps? Or when you hit a slide, is it just going to show all the steps at one time?
I think I'm going to do each one step by step. I'm thinking
first
just going to show the equation, then the next thing it will show like what the next step will be in the
you know what I'm saying? That's better than just showing the question and answer at the same time.
Yeah, just make sure you give a sequence of steps.
Yeah, like enter, here's the next step. So that keep on,
yeah, just like that.
That's good. How do you plan on keeping the students engaged throughout the lesson?
Well, I also plan to show a little 5-minute motivational video, just showing how this instructor was able to solve an inequality problem, and also just give them a hands-on activities using what you call algebra tiles. Yeah.
Those manipulatives.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what.
So I already heard you. I was just about to ask you how are you going to incorporate technology, but you already said you're going to do your Via Connect for your warm-up, and you're going to have a YouTube video you're going to show. You said.
Yeah, it's a YouTube video.
What kind of focusing questions could be asked? And I think they're just talking about, some kind of questions that you ask your students to kind of get them to focus on what you're about to do. You know, like when you go to class and the teacher might say something like, okay, how many of you all have ever solved inequalities before, or have ever seen or heard of inequalities? You know, just to see where their mind is at.
Yeah, I could probably ask something like that.
Yeah, that kind of goes with what do you think your students already know?
Yeah.
You know, ask them those questions like, what do you know about this? And have you seen this before? Does this look funny to you? When you see this type of equation, what is your thought process? What is the first thing your mind tells you to do? You know, stuff like that.
Yeah.
That'd be good. What do you anticipate? Do you think that they're already gonna know some things? What do you think the major problems are gonna be, or misconceptions with the group?
Well, I'm hoping that students may ask some questions to something that they may not understand as part of a lesson. Like, how did you know how to change this? Like, how did you know how to get this on this other side? Or like, why did you change this sign or whatever? Why does this inequality sign change? And probably just ask them just ask them if they still have any questions. If they still do not understand, like just simply ask them like if they still do not understand what inequality is.
Oh, okay, so you're basically going to ask questions to figure out where the students' heads are.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that makes sense.
Just see how far they've got. Just see how far they've gotten in the lesson.
Yeah. What's your main plan of assessment for your lesson?
Main plan of assessment.
Yeah, like, are you gonna use the answers that they come up with from their group activity? You have to assess. You have to have a way of assessing what you just taught them before you hand them over to the next presenter.
Okay. Well, I plan to give students a little short, like at the end of the lesson, I plan to give students a little short assessment or what you call a ticket out the door, and just give them like 1 or 2 problems for them to answer.
Right, the exit slip that we're like what I was saying I was gonna use. And then so after you collect the exit slips, you would then take it home and look at it and say, okay, well, student ABC pretty much had it, but G, F, and Z look like they might need me to hit on it again because their exit slip is like not
like
correct.
Yeah, like that.
Yeah. That's a good form of assessment. That's what I probably use too.
Mm-hmm.
How can you use the room arrangement to enable the learning in your lesson? Say you're doing an activity.
Yeah, hands-on activity.
Yeah, I guess because the classroom is already in tables. You already have groups of 2 kind of set up, so you can kind of use that to your advantage.
Yeah, I mean, you know how like
work
everybody.
with your neighbor.
Yeah, have you noticed that everybody in class there's already 2 people on each row in the classroom, so they can just like work together with each other in order to work. You know, like on this hands-on activity, they can just get together and work together.
Yeah, it's already together.
Yeah.
How will you budget your time? The time of your lesson?
Well, I currently don't have a watch on me, but I was planning like just look at my phone and just see what time just look at my phone and see what time it is, just see how long I have left in the lesson before I move the rest of the presentation on to Alex.
Yeah, well, if you're gonna use your phone, then I would suggest you either have it out of your pocket and already have it sitting on Dr. Junior Clark's desk. That way you can just kind of glance at it versus having to take it out of your pocket and look. Because that can be a little distracting, and we do not want to promote having cell phones. You know, the students are not supposed to have cell phones. Yeah. So if I was you, I would have it, put it next to her computer up there and just kind of glance at it. Or her computer is up there. We could just use the bottom right corner of the computer tells the time, right?
Yeah, we could do that. I didn't think about that.
And I'll tell the other members of the group that we also need to, help each other out. Like I'll be looking in the back, and we can kind of like motion, like, okay, get to the next session. Like we've been doing the warm up long enough.
Yeah, we could just manage each other. Yeah, we could just manage each other's time. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we can do that. I mean, we're all gonna be up there. I mean, aren't we all gonna? Yeah, I mean, we're all still gonna be up there together, right? But we're still. Oh no,
it's not gonna be like when we present our lessons, or our presentations. Or
also, it's like one next, then one after the other.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought we.
Because you're gonna need the floor. You're the teacher.
Yeah.
So you need the floor. You need your desk, your board.
You need space.
Space,
Yeah.
That's your time to be. I'm Mr. Reese, and today we're doing inequalities. So we're supposed to be students.
Yeah.
Kind of, sort of. What would be the critical moment, turning point in your lesson?
I think the critical moment in my lesson plan, in my lesson will probably mostly just be the hands-on activity that students are gonna do. That's probably one of the most critical points because that will get them, because the hands-on activity will get them more engaged get them more engaged in the lesson plan.
Right, and also I believe with the inequality lesson, it's also making sure that those kids remember when they flip-flop. You know, sometimes it'll be greater than or equal to, and then if you, what is it, when you divide by a negative number?
When you multiply or divide by a negative number, they gotta make sure they flip the sign.
Right, make sure they don't forget that. That's important because I know a lot of kids have a problem with that. The number might be correct, but they forgot to flip the sign, so technically you would have to mark them wrong or take off half, however you want to grade.
Actually, if they do that, I think they still gonna get it wrong anyway. I mean, if they don't change. I mean, they got the answer. But they just forget to change the inequality sign. So
yeah, like they might do everything right with their numbers, subtract 2 for both sides, multiply by 5 on both sides. They're gonna get 5 is greater than or equal to X, where it should have flipped to be less than or equal to when they divided by a negative. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So that's really important because we try not to be mean by just saying, "Oh, you're wrong." We try to give them half credit or something like that, but at the end of the day, it's wrong. It's math.
Another thing I just realized, I should probably they probably might wonder why exactly, like when you multiply or divide by a negative number,
why it flips.
Why? Yeah, exactly.
You might want to be prepared to answer that question.
Some students might
What's the reason why does it flip? Why can't I leave it the same?
Yeah.
You have to be prepared to answer that question. So I think that's a critical point.
Yeah, that's another thing.
That's a good one. So I think your lesson is pretty good.